And speaking of genetically altered, because he has this thing on his head that actually takes pictures, that would be Herr General Lucas Paris.
El General of Borg.
El General of Borg, there you go. And then Jeff Sinnis is on the bridge, so sit back for the ride for the next couple of hours as our ship is literally coming in this evening from the Bahamas. All right, but we are fresh off the summit ourselves, including Carl Jackson, who met up with Ted Cruz the other day, and he was just telling us about Ted Cruz's plan. And he definitely has gone into more specifics than Trump has. He's going kind of in the same direction. Did he at all address sending back the illegals that are already here? Is Carl still with us?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead there, Carl. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry here. So the last step that Ted Cruz said, and I got to tell you, this was more enticing to me only after building a wall than anything else. And this is when he said he would reform legal immigration. Whenever I hear reform legal immigration, I always get nervous. I don't know what these politicians mean. I'm like, okay, so they're going to figure out another way, a backdoor way to amnesty a bunch of illegal foreigners. Okay, so he broke it down specifically, and I love this. I mean, the guy just hit it out of the park. He said first he's going to suspend the issuance of all H-1B visas for 180 days for 6 months. To complete a comprehensive investigation and audit of pervasive allegations of abuse of the program. He's going to initiate an immediate 90-day investigation and an audit of the H-1B visa program itself and enact fundamental reforms of this program to ensure that it protects American workers. This is where it gets even better. He says he's going to halt any, A-N-Y, quote, increases in legal immigration as long as the American unemployment number remains high. He will halt all legal immigration. The purpose of legal immigration should be to grow the economy, not to displace American workers, he says. Under no circumstances should legal immigration levels be adjusted upwards so long as workforce participation rates remain below historical averages.
Well,
that made me sing, and he's got two more things that are even better than that. The guy got very specific. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say he just lost the support of Silicon Valley, the executives over at Disney.
he just lost them and gained a whole bunch of Latinos like Jorge Bonilla for the Media Research Center that says this is what he wanted to hear, and a bunch of his Latino friends wanted to hear. So it is quite possible, but the people like the people with LIFA, this is music to their ears. And so he may have lost some, but I would say he probably gained a lot more.
And most of this he would be able to do without congressional action, if not all of it, pretty much.
Yeah.
But did he address the illegals that are already here and what he would do about them?
Yeah, I actually, and that's a good question. That's a good question because he did on the stage, but I can't specifically remember what he said, to be honest with you, because at that point I was trying to get backstage, and I gotta say a lot of the policies here, actually. Let me do this because I got to be honest with you. With the policies that he's outlined, I think he's counting on self-deportation, to be honest with you. And he did speak about it, but at that time when he was mentioning that, I can tell you I was trying to work my way backstage after getting kicked out one time. And
did you try and do something like Chris?
Yeah, well,
and
our reputations precede us. Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't get to hear all of his stuff because I wanted to make sure that I got to see him.
But you did get back there. You did finally get back there. Real quickly, tell everybody what happened back there.
Well, they kicked me out again, to be honest. But what they did was eventually they said they would allow him to speak to people on the stage. And while everybody was speaking to him, I actually snuck up to his wife. There was only a couple of people around her, and I started asking her questions. They were very cautious of the questions that I was asking, and understandably so. But once they saw my questions were somewhat friendly, they let me ask her a couple of questions, and then I proceeded to sneak around people, if you will, on the stage. I got to him, and I got to be the first person to ask him a question on stage, and I asked the question specifically upon regulation as it pertains to the EPA and regulatory tyranny. And the guy, I can't remember all of his answer, but he gave a very in-depth answer of the departments that he wants to end and what he wants to do specifically with the EPA. And I got to tell you, I forget a lot of this stuff. We are going to post it on Facebook, on Carl Jackson, Facebook.com/Carl Jackson Radio, because there were a lot of other pressers around me, and they were asking such vitriolic questions. It was crazy. But I do want to share this too really quick, Chris, because I think a lot of this speaks to self-deportation. I think that's where he's trying to go, to be honest with you, because he also said he's going to do this. He's going to enforce what's called the public charge doctrine, and I wasn't familiar with that, although I am familiar with the meaning once I started reading what that means. Mm-hmm. And that is, current law requires legal immigrants to certify that they will be economically self-sufficient.
Right.
And he says the cruise. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, Aubrey had to go through that, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, you were going to finish.
Okay, so he says the Cruise Administration will ensure they do not receive government assistance which defies the law and harms American taxpayers.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to be economically self-sufficient to enter whatsoever, and he says he's going to completely end this nonsense of birthright citizenship. He says birthright citizenship was not intended to legalize the children of people who are breaking the law by entering and staying in the country illegally. I will take steps to pass legislation or a constitutional amendment to end it. And I got to be honest with you, when I read all of this stuff, the first thing that came to mind was this is strategy for self-deportation, because I'm thinking what he believes he'll do is make it easier for legislators to swallow as he starts hitting things systematically. But what he said is, you have my word. One thing before he left the state, he reiterated, he said, you have my word that on every single one of these points, I will fight to make sure these things happen. I will end amnesty in America. He said, you have my word.
All right.
That's very strong word.
All right. One last question. I gotta let you go. Did you notice, for instance, the presence, if you will, that we noticed with Ben Carson with Ted Cruz?
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. There's only a few people in the race now that I noticed it with, and he's one of them. To me, at this point, I got to be honest. There's only 4 people that I feel need to be in the race at this point, and I was up to 6 last week. But I'm thinking Trump, Cruz, Carson, and actually I'll kind of fudge with 5. And the latter 2 are going to probably shock you guys. But Santorum, he had that presence, and Bobby Jindal kind of does, but he needs some serious. There's no doubt he needs some serious work. But I got to be honest with you. So I'm like at 4.5 or 5 people.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I got to tell you, I'm losing it for people. Quite frankly, Kasich, I didn't feel it at all. I mean, I felt like, what is this guy doing?
I'm starting to feel sorry for the guy.
I did too.
Yeah.
I did too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Carl. Appreciate you so much. Thanks for being out there.
Okay. All right. God bless.
Great job.
All right, take care. Thank you. Bye.
And by the way, just a little quick rundown on the speeches. Marco Rubio, he out of all of them is by far the most polished politician. He kind of, in a way, and this is not meant as a criticism, just as an observation, kind of reminds me of John Edwards, where there's no hair out of place, nothing is left to chance. He's smooth as they come. He spoke from a teleprompter, and he stood rigid at the podium, and he did not wander the stage as many of the other candidates did.
He can't do that with a teleprompter.
No. And matter of fact, Chris Christie read from a speech. Carly Fiorina read from a speech. Rick Santorum did not. Bobby Jindal did not. Rand Paul did not. They tended to wander the stage and spoke without any kind of script, any kind of notes, or anything. Bobby Jindal, he's kind of cool because when his hair gets a little long, he gets this big old front patch of hair, kind of like Elvis, you know. It kind of like, you know, juts out, and he combs it back, and he was wearing jeans and cowboy boots with a collared shirt and a jacket. I mean, he was styling and profiling. But
We were rocking jeans too, by the way.
yeah, he did. That's right. But I thought, you know, in the stump speech, he gives a very, very effective speech. He still has a problem with the smile thing, you know. He needs to do more of that. But Carly Fiorina, once again, you know, it's the delivery. I mean, she was the last speaker, and a lot of people stuck around. Even though she was the last speaker, a lot of people stuck around to hear her, and it was an enthusiastic crowd for her. But I leaned over to Kathy and I said, she needs to be put in charge of the VA, because she would go in there and she would take care of business.
Take no prisoners.
Take no prisoners. All right. When we come back, and by the way, Ben Carson, should he not be the nominee, must be on the ticket as number 2. He has to be.